At the Battle of Boju in 506 BC, Sun Tzu did not attack the wall. He picked up his brush, drew a line across the Chu supply route and said, "Strike there." The Chu army had 200,000 soldiers. Sun Tzu had 30,000. He won in 5 battles because he never hit what was strong. He found what was soft. A river does not attack the mountain. It flows around it. A blade does not chop through armor. It finds the gap. That is the difference between winning and pretending to try. Sun Tzu wrote that water runs away from high places and rushes downward. It avoids what is strong and strikes what is weak. He was not describing a river. He was describing the difference between winning and pretending to try. Most people smash themselves against what resists them most. They work harder at the job that is killing them. They argue louder with the person who will not listen. They push longer at the door that will not open. Sun Tzu watched generals lose armies because they attacked the strongest point of the enemy's defense. They thought courage meant charging. They thought strength meant meeting force with force. The enemy stood there with walls and spears and trained soldiers. And the generals ran straight at them. And they died. Not because they were cowards. Because they were stupid. You are doing the same thing right now. There is a problem in your life that you keep attacking the same way. You try harder. You stay later. You explain again. And nothing changes. Not because the problem is impossible. Because you are hitting the armored part. Sun Tzu said to avoid what is strong and strike what is weak. That is not cowardice. That is the difference between effort and results. The river does not stop at the mountain. It finds the crack. The blade does not dull itself on the shield. It finds the neck. And you keep punching the wall and wondering why your hand hurts. The version of you that attacks strength is the version of you that breaks. The version of you that finds the weak point does not break. Because it does not waste energy on what will not move. But most people never learn this. They think effort is a virtue even when it is aimed at the wrong target. But wrong aim has a cost most people never calculate. You have been taught that persistence means hitting the same wall until it falls. That quitting is failure. That changing direction is weakness. So you stay. You keep trying. You pour more energy into the thing that is draining you. And you call it dedication. Sun Tzu would call it what it is. A waste. Think about the area of your life where you are most stuck. The relationship that keeps hurting you. The job that keeps exhausting you. The habit that keeps winning. You have tried everything. You have made the plans. You have promised yourself tomorrow will be different. And tomorrow comes and you do the same thing. Because you are attacking the mountain instead of flowing around it. Sun Tzu wrote that water has no constant shape. It adapts. It fills the container it finds itself in. It does not complain about the rocks. It simply moves where resistance is lowest. And it arrives at the ocean every single time. Not because it is strong. Because it is flexible. You keep using the same strategy that failed last year. You keep arguing with the same person who never changes. You keep applying for the same type of job that makes you miserable. That is not persistence. That is a loop. And loops lead nowhere except back to where you started. Sun Tzu said to avoid what is strong and strike what is weak. The weak point is not where you have been looking. And you will never find it if you keep standing in the same place. But here is what most people get wrong. They think finding the weak point is cheating. That is not honor. That is ego. The wall does not care about your dedication. The river does not ask permission to flow around the mountain. It just flows. And you are still standing there punching. The struggle is not that you cannot win. The struggle is that you keep fighting the wrong battle. You keep attacking strength because it is the only thing you can see. The weak point is invisible. It is behind you. It is under your feet. It is the thing you have been avoiding because it feels too small. But small is where victory lives. The supply line is smaller than the wall. The gap in the armor is smaller than the shield. The crack is smaller than the mountain. You are the only one who does not know that yet. Sun Tzu wrote that water shapes itself to the ground. If the ground is narrow, water becomes narrow. If the ground is wide, water spreads. It does not resist. It simply becomes what the moment requires. That is the transformation. You stop asking why the problem is so hard. You start asking where it is soft. You stop demanding that life meet you on your terms. You start looking for the crack. Think about the last time something finally worked. You stopped pushing. You stopped forcing. You stepped back and tried something different. And suddenly the door opened. That was not luck. That was water finding its level. You found the weak point without knowing you were looking for it. Now imagine doing that on purpose. He knew this because he studied the way kingdoms fell. Not the ones conquered by larger armies. The ones that collapsed from inside. At Boju, the Chu army did not fall because Sun Tzu's soldiers were braver. It fell because Sun Tzu cut the supply lines first. 200,000 soldiers with no food and no orders. The wall never mattered. The weak point was always the line that fed the wall. Sun Tzu found it in 5 days. His enemies had been staring at the wall for years. You do not need to be stronger. You do not need to be smarter. You need to stop attacking the thing that is designed to resist you. You need to find the place where there is no resistance and strike there. Once, not 10 times. Once. Sun Tzu said the general who wins makes many calculations before the battle. One of those calculations is always the same question. Where are they weakest? If you cannot answer that question, you are not ready to fight. But most people never even ask it. They just charge. And they break. Not because they are weak. Because they are blind. Sun Tzu had a name for that blindness. And a cure. So here's where you are right now. You have been losing battles you could have won. Not because you are not trying hard enough. You are losing because you are trying hard at the wrong thing. You are attacking strength. And strength is designed to resist you. Sun Tzu said to avoid what is strong and strike what is weak. That is not a trick. It is a law. Water follows it. Rivers follow it. Gravity follows it. You are the only one who thinks you are exempt. You are not. The weak point is there. Has always been there. You just refused to look for it because looking felt like admitting that your way was not working. The version of you that attacks strength is the version of you that breaks. The version of you that finds the crack does not break. It flows. It adapts. It wins. Not because it is the strongest thing in the room. Because it is the smartest. You do not need more effort. You need better aim. Stop attacking the wall. Find the gap. Find the supply line. Find the exhausted soldier. That is where the battle is decided. That is where Sun Tzu always struck. And that is where you will win too. You stop attacking what resists you. You find what is soft. And you strike there. I strike where it matters. I strike where it matters. I strike where it matters.